dazzling white. Suddenly they saw two men, Moses and Elijah, talking to Jesus. They appeared in glory and were speaking of his departure, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem. Now Peter and his companions were weighed down with sleep, but since they had stayed awake, they saw his glory and the two men who stood with him. Just as they were leaving him, Peter said to Jesus, "Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But Peter did not know what he was saying. While he was saying this, a cloud came and overshadowed them, and they were terrified as they entered the cloud. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my Son, my chosen. Listen to him." When the voice had spoken, Jesus was found alone. The disciples kept silent, and in those days told no one any of the things they had seen. The Gospel of the Lord. At one time, Jesus had asked the apostles what people were saying about him, about his identity. Then he asked the apostles about his identity. Whom did they think he was? And it was St. Peter who answered under divine inspiration that he was the anointed of God. Today, he takes Peter, James, and John up to Mount Tabor to show them a glimpse of his divinity, that he was the complete fulfillment of the whole law and the teaching of the prophets. This glorious personage showed them his exaltation, which would be the goal and purpose of his humiliation. Unfortunately, when the suffering began in the Garden of Gethsemane, the 3 apostles had forgotten Mount Tabor, and they, with the rest, deserted the Master, with Peter even denying him 3 times. Peter learned in a very humbling way that the way to glory and exaltation for Christ and all his followers would be very similar. There is no myth or accident about this. If he would attain the share in the glory of Christ, he must also accept a share in his passion and death. The 3 apostles witnessed the agony of Christ in the garden. They panicked and they scattered. We must stay calm and stay with Jesus and listen